So as expected today, the Fed raised rates another 50 basis points so that we are at the highest levels we've seen in interest rates in 15 years. Now, if you look at any article on the internet now or follow the talking heads, you'll see a breakdown of a few key things. One is the target Fed funds rate and the pathway that the Fed is looking to get to. The other is a mention of inflation. It's a very, very hot piece of information that Chair Powell dove into, because inflation isn't just one metric. There's subcategories. He talked about 3 buckets, and how the Fed is measuring inflation and what it needs to do to fight inflation is very important. So you can look at a lot of different markets to try to figure out where things are headed next. And when I feel like there's too many choices, there's, the dollar, there's gold, there's the 10-year, I like to come back to my happy place, and that is the VIX. So the VIX is the CBOE Volatility Index. This is essentially measuring fear in the markets and can be used to make direct trades of futures, stocks, options, and more. So before we take a look at the VIX, important reminder that trading and investing can be extremely risky business. Therefore, it's your responsibility to evaluate any information, opinion, advice, or other content contained in this video. If you're new here, I'm Hima Reddy, and I use price, market timing, and momentum action to help boost my trading and that of my tribe. So what you see here are candlesticks, so each candle representing 1 day of price action. You see my RSI Power Zones momentum indicator down below. And what I noticed today with the VIX is that there was a rejection, a return to and then a pulling away from of this trend line, which you see is dashed. Now, why is this trend line dashed and this upper one is solid? Well, the lower trend line, the anchors, if you would like to draw it on your own charts, is November 4th, 2021 to January 4th, 2022, confirmed in March and April, and then revisited in July to August. Now, it was violated here, as you can see, and so it was no longer providing necessarily a precise point of resistance. But that doesn't mean it won't be useful on top of other chart metrics. So that's why I like to turn my trend lines that get violated, if you will, into dashed ones until I really find that they're not useful anymore. So you can see how by leaving this as a dashed line, it kind of gave me an idea of where VIX might head up to before it turns around. All right, so let's focus in on the more recent action and see if we can get an idea of what the VIX is telling us for days and weeks ahead here. So bringing your eyeballs down to the bottom half of the chart, here's my RSI power zones. And these have returned to the bear resistance power zone. So this is an area where we're looking for the VIX to continue to have a downside pressure, not only based on price returning to the previously violated trend line, but also the RSI power zones capping at the bear resistance power zone. Now I'm going to come in and do some quick analysis on the price action on a more granular level. All right, so what this is telling me is the VIX was not able to recoup half of its losses off of the October 12th high, right? That is comparable to the October 12th, 13th low in markets like the S&P. And if you look at that 50% mark, the halfway from October 12th to December 2nd, it's super close to this November 10th high. So you can see there's an area of supply resistance sitting here on the VIX that has a couple of features to it. There's also another level that was more recent, the November 15th high. So on top of the Fibonacci retracement or Gann retracement pointing to that 50% level, there's actual traded levels on the VIX that are suggesting that there is decent pressure on the VIX coming in on the price chart. So where does this leave the VIX for where I think it's headed? Well, I'm going to bring in some forecasting now. So let me do that and I'll be back. All right, so here's the really awesome thing. Not only is the price action of the VIX, the actual candlestick charts, telling us there's room for it to go lower, not only is the RSI power zone suggesting weakening in the VIX, which would be strength in the broad market as well, market timing, is suggesting that we were in the zip code to form a tradable high in the VIX by December 12th. And look, we got one just one trading day later on December 13th. It also had a price component in the 24.75 area. And look, you can see that price was actually at that level as well. So this is a forecast you could have had on the VIX as early as December 6th to be ready for this recovery to then cap out. So that's what I'm seeing, everything coming together in my trifecta of price, momentum, and market timing. And the big drum roll here is that the expectations for the VIX in the weeks ahead are twofold. Let me show you. So December 19th is going to be quite a pivotal day for the VIX in terms of market timing. There's a bit of an expectation for a low to form. However, the market is already weaker than what that forecast would have expected. So it's more likely that the VIX will continue to weaken past December 19th and continue on over coming weeks, even into 2023. Now, guys, I'm not saying it's going to fall in one fell swoop. There will be moves and bumps along the way, but look at how it fell from October, okay? And how the bumps and the rallies in the VIX coincided with your markets and potential pullbacks, right, in equities. That's the kind of thing I'm seeing here that's unfolding again. That this turn lower could last weeks, if not a couple months. Now, here's the thing. I don't have a crystal ball, so it's important that you take this analysis and compare it against your own analysis of your markets. Also, if you want to follow my short-term moves of the broad market, specifically the S&P, you can catch that in the Skinny in the Markets. And if you want to learn how to forecast for yourself so you can find those twists and turns along the way and be prepared for them, whether they hit or not, I teach that in my loss forecasting trading system. Awesome. Well, hopefully now you can see why the VIX is my happy place when there's a lot going on out in the world. I'll catch you on the inside.